was told to deliver this message.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Assalamu alaikum. It's your brother Landon X. This is NationTownTV Live, and as you saw, the topic today is a continuation of the cancel culture series. I didn't mean for it to be a series, but apparently we need it to be, because apparently we have another situation with rapper DaBaby, which opened up a whole nother can of worms. So the question is there an agenda? Gay agenda, whatever kind of agenda. What do you think? Hit us up. Questions and comments. NationTownTV Live. Assalamu alaikum. Y'all know what it is.
Rio.
Assalamu alaikum. Dear family, it's your brother Landon X. This is NationTownTV Live. Y'all know what it is, and we are dealing with that topic again, cancel culture. We had a situation with a rapper or two regarding cancel culture, and now we're gonna get into another agenda. The last episode that we did on cancel culture was featuring or revolving around the situation with Dr. William H. Cosby. And now we're going to deal with a different side of the coin. And you know we're going to deal with it Nation Town style so you don't miss. So, let me first start off in the proper fashion. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared in the person of Master W. Fard Muhammad, that long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. I further bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger, but let me slow down and be very clear. When I say that Muhammad is his messenger, I pray that I'm as clear as the Holy Quran in Surah 16 and 36, as clear as the Holy Quran in the 10th Surah, as clear as the Holy Quran in the 44th Surah and 5th verse. In that 16 and 36, it says, certainly a messenger would be raised for every nation. Certainly, now last time I checked, certainly means most definitely. Certainly a messenger would be raised for every nation. 44 and 5 says that we, this is God speaking, but he uses the personal pronoun we are ever sending messengers. And that messenger for this day, for this hour, for this nation is none other than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is actually the messenger of Allah at minimum, if you understand. But in fact, exalted Christ. But see, I would know nothing of him or his work of resurrecting the 17 million or more dead to the Lamb of God. I would know nothing of Master Fard Muhammad. I would know nothing of these beautiful men and their even more beautiful works if it were not for the fantastic work, the fantastic leadership, the fantastic guidance of the criterion in our midst. I'm speaking of none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and in those three great names, I greet you all. Nation Town family, in the words of peace, we say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you, Brother Hakeem. Wa alaikum salam. I see you, dear brother. All praises due to Allah. We got Brother K for real. Wa alaikum salam, family indeed. All praises due to Allah. Hit us up with your questions and comments. Most definitely hit us up with your questions and comments. We got a lot to cover. I don't intend to be on long, but I do intend to be on strong, because we have to deal with this topic. And this is why I prefer, and why we prefer on NationTownTV, to deal with topics without jumping on them too quickly. We are not first responders. We are not ambulance chasers here on NationTownTV. So we don't just wait for something to happen and then just go live and give our hot take on it. This ain't ESPN, and hot takes they're dangerous. You know, because you want to get the full understanding of what's going on, but really get an understanding. And in the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the understanding of a thing is not found on the branches, it's found in the root, as old folks pronounce it. Another way to pronounce it is the root. Get to the root of it. Root knowledge is the best knowledge. But before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe. If you happen to be watching this and you are not a NationTownTV subscriber on YouTube, man, shame on you. What are you doing with your life? Go ahead and get that subscription down. Now, also, make sure on YouTube, shout out to our YouTube family, you have to hit that little bell, if I'm not mistaken. So that way, when we go live, we normally go live on either Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Sundays, but whenever we go live, we might go live on any given day, you'll get that direct notification from YouTube. And to my family on Facebook, make sure you're sharing the ad that's on Facebook for this particular link. Get it out there, get it out there, get it out there, because we're going to touch on a hot situation. Not necessarily a topic, but a situation, because, you know, Nation Town, we want to get a little deeper than most, and a little bit deeper than normal. But keep in mind that you are watching NationTownTV, and the only way that you're watching NationTownTV is because it's brought to you by NationTownStore.com. I want to thank all of you who have supported NationTownStore.com. We've reached a point where we've been able to grow about 90% just in the last 16 to 18 months. You know, I wasn't sure what the pandemic was going to bring, but we've been able to really grow our support on the NationTownStore.com side, but also show us some love. Show us some love on Cash App, NationTown, $NationTown, no TV, just $NationTown. Show us some love. 15 cents, $15, 15 racks, whatever's in your pocket, whatever's in your heart. show us some love. Keep in mind that whatever you show us on the Cash App donation goes directly to our Yes Ma'am program, a meal and a message where we provide healthy meals, the same kind of meals that we eat. Illustrious, world-renowned bean soup made with that delicious navy bean that's also healthy for you. One of the healthiest legumes that you could ever put in your mouth, but also fresh fruits and vegetables, all given to our people, giving it to them throughout the Los Angeles area and beyond, inshallah. But that would all be based on your donation. So shout out to everybody that have donated. We got some people who donate on the regular, and we got something special for y'all coming up, and we appreciate that support. But let's get down to business, because like I said, we got a topic that, man, when you talk about root knowledge, this one we're gonna have to dig a little bit. We're gonna have to dig, because the issue here, let me give you the surface issue before we get all up in the roots, up in the rip. Let's get in the surface a little bit. Here's what happened. Rapper DaBaby, for the people that don't know, for those of you who already know, this is for the people who got other stuff to do than follow what's going on with rappers that just came out yesterday. So here's what happened with DaBaby. DaBaby was on stage. I was gonna show the video, but it's a little offensive, and it's also kind of silly. But he was on stage at a concert, and in between songs, that's usually the time where the artist pumps up the crowd, does a little call and response, I think is what they call it. And he was doing something of that nature, and he made some comments about people having homosexual sex in the parking lot, and he said, if you don't have AIDS, then make some noise, or put up or light up your phone, or whatever the case may be. And so it sounded like on the surface that he was being disrespectful to the LGBTQ community and to those suffering with the scourge of AIDS, HIV/AIDS. I mean, for me, and I got to give you a fair warning, I'm not going to go too deep into that particular situation, because what he said was kind of just silly. It didn't make sense. Like, it was like, what kind of call and response is that? Call and response is where the ladies at, where the fellas at, where all my East Side Negroes at, where all my West Side. That's normal call and response. If they say, ladies, if you got your own money, put your hands up, and the ladies go, ah. And then, you say, brothers, if you're trying to take something home, throw your hands up. The brothers go, yeah. That's call and response. But what he was doing, it was just whack on his surface. Like, I didn't understand what he was even trying to get at. It was almost like something happened to him in the parking lot, and he still had it in the back of his mind. And maybe he saw something go down in the parking lot. And it was just on the forefront of his mind, or the back of his mind, or something. And he just had to get it off his chest. But, the LGBTQ soldiers, they got on his head, man. I can't even front. They got on his head. And they got on his head through so-called black Twitter. These are the same people who put the rainbow behind the black fist during the George Floyd protest. These are the people who are essentially telling rappers that, hey, you can rap about killing 18,000 niggas per album. You can sell all the dope in the world, even to your mama. There are rappers who have admitted to selling dope to their own relatives, to their uncle, to their mama. You can call a woman a female dog. You can call her a tool. You can call her all kind of things. You can run through 1 million women on each song. You can put everything over women, money over women, drugs over women, everything. You can do all of that. Oh, but what you can't do is disrespect the homosexual community. So he did that. And so he got dropped from a lot of festivals. And the truth of the matter is, no matter what they tell you or what's going on, these artists, they make all their money from doing shows. So they hit them where it hurt. and almost all of them are on 360 deals. So everything they do, hell, if they take a picture and make $1 off of it, they got to give 80 cents to the record label. So they got these terrible deals. So these concerts is their bread and butter. All the diamonds and stuff that you see on them, it all comes from doing a show where they might get anywhere from 5 G's to as much as 50 G's. Some of them lie and say they get 6 figures a show. You know, maybe the top ones do. But, you know, that's their bread and butter. And they can do 2 or 3 of those shows a week whenever they drop an album. That's why they drop mixtapes and don't even really care about you know, it just being streamed and nobody buying it, because if it gets a buzz in the streets, then they can go and do shows off of it. So whatever. So that's the situation with DaBaby. I'm personally not a fan of his, just as a rapper. He's just not my style. You know what I mean? He's just But that's not what we're talking about. Now some of y'all might think, oh, okay. You see the agenda right there. Agenda, oh yeah, the gay agenda, yeah. You mean, Brother Landon, you talking about stuff like this, like these new age rappers, man, they on stage at the BET Awards, which is really the VET, Viacom Entertainment Television, because there ain't nothing black about BET no more, as you can see, you know, and I had to edit that out. I couldn't disrespect NationTown and our NationTown family by actually showing that. You know, I don't really like to censor things, but I had to censor that. You might think I'm talking about that agenda. Oh, okay. Maybe it's the homosexuality in the cartoon. Man, they got cartoons now, pushing it on your children. So your child logs on to YouTube or television or whatever, Fire Stick, Netflix, whatever. And there it is. You see them. You see the homosexuality. Not only that agenda, but if you look over there to the left, you see it's a sister with a white boy. This is their dream. This is their dream right now. Sister with a white boy, and then a man, so-called of color, with another man in the back. That kind of agenda. That's what you're talking about, Brother Landon. Not quite. Oh, I know what you're talking. I know you're talking about like drag queens and transsexuals going in schools and teaching children about homosexuality and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. That new agenda, that new gay agenda. Yeah. But like I said, in the Nation of Islam, we're taught root knowledge, and we're encouraged to always go to the root. That's why I have a X after my name. It has many meanings, that X. But one of the clearest meanings is that X cancels out everything that comes after it. Because I don't really know my surname. Even if I were blessed with a name like Muhammad or whatever, Akbar, Allah, whatever, from the minister, that's a name given to me, and it would be cherishable and beautiful, but still, I don't know my actual West African lineage surname or surnames. I knew a couple of brothers from Africa, and in African tradition, they have many names, sometimes as many as 12 or 13 names. That's a fact. So we got to get to the root of ourselves. So we also got to get to the root of every issue. And that's what we intend to do. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you, family. All praises due to Allah, Brother K, for real. Definitely thank you for that reminder. Share, like, subscribe, and support. All praises due to Allah. I see you, Mrs. Phoenix 91. Wa alaikum salam. Finally caught alive. See? Finally caught one. Finally caught a body. All praises due to Allah. We got Yasiel Joy. Peace and blessings to you, dear Queen. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. All praises due to Allah. So let's get into it. Well, Brother Landon, let's cut the suspense. Let's cut the suspense. If that's not the agenda you talking about, brother, the hell you talking about? Well, first and foremost, let me say this. Let me get this out the way. Some of y'all NationTown viewers are familiar with this. Every now and then I gotta pull this out. Warning. Feelings may be caught. Negro, not black, not Aboriginal, but Negro discretion is advised. I just had to give you that disclaimer because you never know. You might run into a couple of feelings or two. So I had to throw that up there. In fact, I'm gonna keep it up there for a minute. What do I mean by agenda? Now, the actual terminology that there is a gay agenda now, that there is a gay agenda these days, that phrase on its face, as they say in legal terms, that phrase, I do not agree with. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to let, one or two of y'all get mad for a minute because you don't really understand where I'm going with this. But the idea that the gay agenda these days, that there is a gay agenda these days, there is a gay agenda now, I don't like the way that rolls off the tongue. Because in all reality, if you're a student of agendas and a student of history, and if you know your enemy, if you have knowledge of self, knowledge of God, but also knowledge of the devil, then you know that the gay agenda is not a new thing. It's not these days. It's not a 2020 thing, 21 thing, 2018 thing, 2015, 14, 13, 12, 2001 thing, 1998 thing, 1990 thing, 1970 thing, You talking about a long game strategy. And it's not a gay agenda. It's a white agenda. White supremacy, to be exact. Now let me dig deep on this. All praises due to Allah. Let me dig deep on this. I see you, Sister Yasiel Joy. Yes, sir, Brother Landon. It has to be their dream to be with our people because they are programming the people in every way they can. Absolutely. And they've been doing it for a long time. Now, y'all know, NationTown, we like to use analogies and parables. That's the way the master taught 2,000 years ago, the Jesus of yesterday, and that's the way the Jesus of today teaches. So we're gonna use that. We're gonna go in the way of analogy. Let me say this to all of those listening. Shout out to everybody chiming in. Hit us up with your questions and comments. We'll superimpose it over the screen. Make sure you subscribe. Thumbs up, like my sister say, thumbs up, thumbs up. Hit them thumbs up, hit that like, share, get it out there. Now, in the Nation of Islam, some of you may know or may not know, we have some niches. We have a few things that, man, when it comes to the FOI, you know that we do these few things. You know that when you see the brothers out there in the streets, somebody got a paper, got that Final Call newspaper. You know we got the paper. You know somebody got the pie. It may not be that brother or that brother, but somebody got that delicious, world famous bean pie. Yep. Now another thing that you know that the nation does, or you may not know, this is a little bit of lesser known niche that we have mastered over the years. The Nation of Islam is a force to be reckoned with in the industry of personal security and event security details. In fact, some of your favorite and most gangster rappers, when they go to a city or to a community that they don't feel quite safe in, they call the nation. Some of your favorites, some of the biggest celebrities in the world, and it actually started in this dispensation on this side of 1975. It really started with the Dope Busters. These were a group of brothers in the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, particularly Washington, DC. This is where it started, and then it spread throughout the nation and in the Nation of Islam, where these brothers went into and during the heart of the crack epidemic, the crack pandemic, they went into, those of you who remember the late 80s and early 90s, they went into these communities unarmed and cleaned them up. Had Mayfair Mansions, which at that time was one of the most violent and hardest places to live in America. Bodies dropping every day. Bodies dropping every day. But they were able to clean it up to the point where little black girls could actually have lemonade stands in the middle of what used to be an open air drug market. And that built an instant reputation in the late 80s, early 90s, that the Nation of Islam segued into many security contracts. Many, with all types of celebrities and the like. And here in Los Angeles, we're blessed to really be one of the epicenters of Nation of Islam security firms. For example, this brother right here, it looks like the obelisk. He looks like the Washington Monument standing next to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is the first time I ever seen a full lecture from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is Million Man March 1995. And this brother, that's my captain. My state captain emeritus here in Los Angeles, Captain Shahid Muhammad. But he was also the man that was called when the O.J. Simpson trial, they called it the trial of the century. And the man defending O.J. Simpson, he was getting death threats on his life. And who did he call? He called the FOI, that same brother. You see him right there to the right of our beloved brother Johnny Cochran. The brother to his left and to his right are in the Nation of Islam. That's Captain Shahid right there to Johnny Cochran's immediate right. Not only Johnny Cochran, one of the best attorneys in the history of law. I didn't say best black attorneys. May Allah be pleased with our brother. Our brother really loved his people and he was a master at his craft. But the king of pop, Michael Jackson, I happen to know the brother standing directly to his right. That's brother Bashir Muhammad. Just a little bit of just to show you how diverse the FOI is, let me go back to this Million Man March picture. You see that? There's a bulletproof glass that they're standing behind. This brother standing to the right of Michael Jackson actually designed and handmade that bulletproof barrier right there. That shows just how versatile the mighty FOI is. Shout out to brother Bashir Muhammad. And that's, of course, the king of pop. You talking about a man who was as popular as Jesus himself. So the FOI have protected men who were as popular as Jesus, and Jesus figures in our midst today. That's how we get down. Now, when you look at this picture right here, you see two faces that you might recognize. That's Kanye West, who living in somebody's football stadium right now, about to drop an album. That's Jermaine Dupri. They call him the mayor of Atlanta, a hip-hop producer legend. But the brother to his right is also one of our captains here in the L.A. area. That's Captain Rodney Muhammad. Right there. It seemed like he chilling, seemed like he having a good time, but run up on him and see what happened. He gonna break a bone that you didn't even know you had. Shout out to brother Captain Rodney Muhammad. Now, why am I talking about security? What does security have to do with the agenda? Well, the thing about security in the Nation of Islam and in security in general, one of the reasons that we're able to secure all of these important individuals, superstars, the king of pop, people getting death threats all over the world from the trial of the century, the way we're able to do that and then not carry an AK-47, not carry a cannon on our shoulder, the way we're able to do that is that we are very observant. We have general orders. General order number 2, walk our posts in a perfect manner, keeping always on the alert. We use preventative measures. These preventative measures are done based on surveying our surroundings, knowing what's going on, but also communication with each other. Trying to identify threats before those threats are made manifest. Our unity, our communication, walking our post in a perfect manner. That's how we secure these extremely important brothers and sisters without so much as a penknife. And they pay us top dollar for it. Now, what does this have to do with the agenda? I have a question for everybody that's watching, particularly the brothers. Every brother that's watching, especially if you over the age of 10. Do you think, from a security standpoint, do you think that the black man, because when we hold these security details, that's what we call them. We call them being on post. We call them details, security details. That's what they're called. It ain't just what we call them. That's what they're called. Do you think the black man has been on his post in the black community? I'm talking about the black man overall. Has he been on his post in the black household? Has the black man been on his detail in our community? Have we been walking our post as black men in a perfect manner? Have we kept always on the alert? Have we? Let me know. Hit me up. I want to hear what you think. And I'm talking about collectively. I'm not saying just you. I'm not just saying that brother over there, that brother over here. Have we been on our post, keeping always on the alert collectively as black men? Brother K for real says no, sir. And I have to agree. I have to agree. In fact, I know for a fact that we haven't. We have not been on our post as men. We have not properly been on our assigned detail. See, when you're securing a property or an event or a person, the details matter so much. What is that old saying? Some of y'all help me out in the comment section. That old saying about details. Something is in the details. Y'all help me out. Who in the details? The devil's in the details. But did you know that old saying, devil in the details, is actually somewhat of a misnomer? That's not really the proper turn of that phrase. Let's look into what devil in the details really comes from. I did a little research and I found out that the devil is in the details only came into common use in the 1990s. Van der Rohe died in 1969. And the earliest citation of that I found in print is in Richard Mayne's explanation of the workings of the European Union, the Community of Europe, 1963, on the principle that the devil's in the details, what should have been a merely formal occasion developed into a debate about the community's official languages and the site of its headquarters. And what I found in this research, family, is that man that they just named, looks like I don't have the other part that explains it, but that man Van der Rohe, who died in 1969, his writings actually said God is in the details. Somebody came behind him and changed that and said, no, devil is in the details. So the original phrase was God is in the details. You will find God in the situation. You will find God in yourself when you go into the details. But somebody came around and said, no, let's start saying that the devil is in the details. Well, you know, if you look at it that way, you're not wrong. You can find God in the details and you can find the devil. Why is the devil in the details? Well, in order to find out why the devil's in the details, you might want to go to the book of God, the Holy Quran, the book of the Muslims. An untainted, non-stepped on word of Almighty God Allah. Let's look in the Holy Quran real quick, family. We won't be on long, but we do intend to be on strong. Look at this. Somebody come look at this. This is Surah 7, ayat or verse 16. This is the story that appears, actually his name appears about 11 times in the Holy Quran, a total of about 9 times as it pertains to this particular situation. This is the story of Iblis. Iblis, my friends, is the devil. And the devil worked out a deal with God. The devil, he was an angel. In the Holy Quran, so teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And God raised up a Khalifa, named him Adam, and he told the angels to submit to Adam. And they all submitted except for Iblis, who was and is the devil. And the Holy Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. He said, as thou had, this is Iblis talking, as thou hast adjudged me to be erring, meaning to be wrong, I will certainly lie in wait for them in thy straight path. See, this is how it went from God in the details to devil in the details. Because remember, he said he's going to be in their straight path. Straight path. But look what he says after that. Surah 7:17. Then I shall certainly come upon them from before them and from behind them, and from their right and from their left, and thou wilt not find most of them thankful. Now, last time I checked, there's only about 4 directions: left, right, front, back, or north, south, east, west. That's it. That's it. Those are only 4 directions. So this is Iblis. This is the devil saying that he's going to come from every direction and turn things around. This is how we went from God is in the details to now everybody's saying devil is in the details. Because see, in order for the devil to be successful in the agreement that he made with God, he made an agreement with God. And we all make agreements with God especially when we doing bad, when we need help, when we sick, when we need some money, we want an old girl back, we want an old boy back in our life, whatever it is that we going through, we get that sincere prayer. When you come in the Nation of Islam, you not only recite the student enrollment, but you write a Savior's letter. So that's us making a covenant with God. But according to the Holy Quran, the devil made a covenant with God too. Who kept that covenant most? Us? I'm talking about human beings, black people, Aboriginal people, or Iblis. I say that right now, the game ain't over, but right now we down by about 4 touchdowns. Iblis is keeping his covenant. He keeping his covenant. Now check this out. Like I said, the agenda that we dealing with, it's not a gay agenda, people. It is a white agenda. It is a white supremacist agenda. Please, Nation Town family, and try to spread this word. Please, 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 pretty please. Sugar and navy beans on top. Please. Stop cherry picking your enemy. Stop allowing him to create these hot button topics where you kind of move him to the side and you start cherry picking through issues. Oh, this is a gay issue. This is a Republican issue. This is a Democrat issue. This is a police issue. No. This is a beast issue. A beast issue. Call it what it is. What we do today is no different from doctors of today who don't even try. Scientists today don't even try to cure the disease. What do? They just serve the symptoms. They just treat the symptoms. If the disease gives you a headache, well, here's something for that headache. If the disease make your back hurt, well, here's something for your back. If it make your left arm hurt, here's something for your left arm. And it makes your left arm chill for a couple of hours. But they don't do anything to actually treat the disease. And what we're doing right now, and what we've been doing for too long, is that we just been treating the disease of Yakub's grafted devil. It just is what it is. So that's why I don't really believe in the terminology that, oh, there's a gay agenda. No, there's a white agenda. And the thing about him, observe the operations of the Caucasian. He is successful. He works in a collective manner. He makes no excuses for his failures. But check this out. Let's go into this agenda. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you. All praises due to Allah. All praises due to Allah. Sister Yasia said, this is how you know that NOIFOI are the ones who will usher in the kingdom of God on earth. All powerful in security and peace. Praise be to Allah. Indeed, sister. All praise is due to Allah. Shout out to Brother Hakeem. God is in the details. Thanks for the update. All praise is due to Allah, brother. All praise is due to Allah. Brother K for real said, get to the root of the problem. Absolutely. If it be the will of Allah, let's get into it. Let's go deeper into this agenda. Well, the agenda started way back in 1555. 1555. And in 1555, we know what happened. Those of you familiar with the teachers, those of you who are not familiar with the teachers, you might construe that date as 1619. I'm talking about the beginning of chattel slavery here in the Western Hemisphere. The reason why you think it's 1619, but the National Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. says 1555 on a good slave ship called Jesus, is because between 1555 and 1619, there was a 64-year slave-making process, a buck-breaking process. Buck-breaking. Now that's been ringing out the last few years. Our brother Tariq Nasheed did a fantastic documentary on it. My only problem is when we hear buck-breaking now, those of us that are social media woke, the first thing your mind goes to is sex, homosexual sex. No, the buck-breaking process is the process itself of turning an aboriginal god, king and queen, from the wondrous valleys and hillsides and majesty of Africa and transforming them into a deviated nigger. That's what buck breaking is. And it entails many things, not just raping a male African who is now a slave. That's not just what it means. Buck breaking goes deeper than just the physical rape and torture. It also means the bondage of the black man turned slave. It also means the absolute torture and embarrassment and humiliation of the black man. Notice, now this is what they don't show you enough of in these movies or in so-called critical race theory, that oftentimes when you were dealing with a buck-broken plantation of slaves, the field hand, the slave hand that you see over there to the left, which is usually a poor Irishman, but if it was a smaller plantation, it would be the slave owner himself. They would train one of the Negroes to be the main one doing all of the whipping, doing all of the so-called discipline. But pay attention to the crowd around them. Mostly are women standing up front. They would make sure of this. This was a part of the buck breaking process. Take his queen, take his woman, and put her on the front row so she can really see every ounce of skin get ripped off his back. If we cut his foot off, make sure that she sees it when that hatchet goes through his ankle. Make sure she hears the scream, that she's so close that when he screams out because his phallus was cut off, that maybe some of the blood splatters back on her face, or some of the saliva from his mouth splatters back on her face, so she can really see her king be dethroned in front of everybody. This was a part of that buck breaking process. This is the agenda at its infancy. But look at how they did with the women. Got the women up front. But not only that, in this process of buck breaking, the slave master made sure that when he gave the slaves scraps, the scraps of food, which was the worst part of the pig and the cow, the food that they didn't eat at that time, we got them eating all of that stuff now because we made do with it and got creative with it. But back then they didn't eat it, so they threw it to us. Or the burlap sack clothing that they would have us wear, they would always give it to the woman to hand out to the other slave quarters. They would work through the woman. Keep this in mind. This is important. When it came to house niggas and field niggas, Keep in mind that the woman in the house nigga position was considered an elite position for a slave. The woman always had first dibs on domestic positions. She would be the caretaker of the children. She would even breastfeed the children. She would be what they called the wet nurse at that time. Look at the pain in these sisters' faces. Look at the pain in their faces, trying their best to mask it. But let me show you this photo right here. This is a photo of a group of what Malcolm X would call house Negroes. And you see the slave lady, the first lady of the plantation, over to the left. You notice something about this group of house slaves? There's only about one man in this group. That's by design. I believe there may be a man behind him, but the rest of them are women. This looks a lot like corporate America when it comes to black people, don't it? This is a reflection of corporate America today. Maybe a couple of brothers, and if they have a couple of brothers, at least one of them is homosexual, and then the rest are sisters. Why is this important? This is a part of the agenda going all the way back. And then the slave mother, out of love and care of her children, wanting the best possible life that her children could have, she would raise her little black boys to be docile and weak, but be strong enough to be good slaves. Strong enough to be good slaves. But it goes further than that, family. Shout out to everybody chiming in. It goes further than that. See, this is the real agenda. It ain't as simple as, oh, they teaching, they got gay cartoons and all of that. Yeah, that means you were not on your post. We were not on our post. We were not alert. When the threat is right here, it's too late. When you look over your shoulder and the threat is right there, it's too late. It's even too late if you armed with an AK-47. If the threat is right here in front of you, where they open their mouth, you can smell their breath. It's too late to get a big old gun and try to stick it in. Oh, no. That gun might be in their possession in a minute if they know what they're doing. It's too late at that point. So that's where we are right now. So the gay agenda is not stuff in the music or in the cartoons and in the movies. No, it goes way, way back. Way, way back. Even after slavery, keep in mind that even when chattel slavery ended, our sisters continued to work in a domestic capacity in white households. That process continued, and that gave birth to what we now know as the mammy. That's depicted on old movies. The mammy. Now these days, it's our Hispanic, so-called Hispanic sisters that are holding down these jobs. The good old mammy. And these mammies would basically raise these rich white people's children. Now the interesting thing about these mammies is that these mammies, at a time after chattel slavery, and I need you to follow me on this, they really got an idea of what it was like to be white and rich, because they were the ones who ordered the groceries. They would take the grocery runs. They would order the drapes on the windows and all of that stuff. So sister would really get a feeling, even though this wasn't her stuff, she got a feeling of the good life. That's where that mentality of white ice is colder comes from. It came from Big Mama, the mammy, because she saw all these nice things that white folks had, and she had it in her mind that they only had these nice things because they were white, not because they had built this economic power on the backs of slaves. No, sister was just thinking, oh, white people just got it better than us. And when she left there, she would go to some raggedy home, raggedy apartment. You seen Raising in the Sun. So that's why we spent all those first years of integration as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad calls it, the trick of integration, the hypocritical trick of integration, sending our children, striving to send our children to white schools, striving to live in white neighborhoods, because we thought it was just that simple. We just get closer to white people, then boom, we good. We didn't know that they had a more sinister agenda, a more sinister nature that didn't have nothing to do with the location of your home or where your children went to school. Let's keep going. And then it went down into the wheel of time and it mutated even further. Then you had the attack on both genders, starting with black feminism given to the black woman by CIA agents like Gloria Steinem. That's Gloria Steinem, a Jew, over here to the left. Feeding this idea of feminism to the black woman. Later on in her life, she admitted that she was a spy. The COINTELPRO program sent her into the black community to tell the black woman, the worst thing happening to you today is your black man. Not the white man who had you in this position, in that position, in this position, in that position, in that position. No. The worst thing, sister, that's going on in your life is your man. So stand up and rise up against him. That was the agenda put on our sisters. And then what I call the black man's Bible, message to the black man, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he talks about the creation or the making, let me correct myself because there's a difference. The making of the Caucasian. In the teaching of Yaqub, he points out with great clarity that Mr. Yaqub taught his maid devils on P-line that when you go back to the holy black nation, rent a room in their homes, teach your wives, in other words, white women or women that are about to be white through the grafting process, teach your wives to go out the next morning around the neighbors of the people and tell that you heard her talking about them last night. When you have gotten them fighting and killing each other, then ask them to let you help settle the disputes. The white man, politicians, lawyers, so-called allies. They call them allies today, allyship. Some of y'all falling for that. And restore peace among them. If they agree, then you will be able to rule them both. This method of the white race practices on the black nation the world over. And look what you have going on between us today. You would think we'd be mad at white supremacy, which is the mother of all the police brutality, the mother of the fact that black women in corporate America make about 80% less than their white male counterparts in corporate America, even though they have the same education and more talent and more intelligence. There's nobody more educated in America right now than the black woman, but she makes 80% less than the Caucasian male. What's going on? And the fact that the black man or black woman can allow this agenda to turn us away from each other, I got to summon the wise philosophy of a one Riley Freeman. If you let anybody come between you and the black man, sister, and the black man, you let anybody come between you and the black woman, listen.
You gay.
You gay. You gay. Straight up. You gay. That's gay. That's gay. That's gay. Constantly bickering between the male and the female. Every time the topic comes up, well, men don't do this. Well, women don't do this. Well, men don't do this. And women, and now they got homosexual-ish men stirring the pot, calling themselves experts. And we don't see the agenda in that. That's as gay as anything. That's more gay. Seeing the opposite sex as your enemy is more gay than what Lil Nas X did on that stage. I'm sorry. Let me bring it back up. Let me bring this back up so don't nobody try to sue me. Let me tell you again, family. Feelings may be caught. Negro discretion is sincerely advised. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you, family. All praise due to Allah. 99 Alpha Lee Wakane says, good teaching. Aki, all praises due to Allah. Ak, true indeed, all praises due to Allah. I'm Jemima, that's a fact. Brother K for real says, teach Muhammad, all praises due to Allah. Wa alaikum salam, Brother Khalik, all praises due to Allah. Definitely, definitely. All praises are due to Allah. Let's go further. Let's go further, family. It's deeper. Remember, we in the roots. We in the roots. It ain't just them teaching certain things in school or commercial you might see, or a cartoon, or some whack rapper on stage doing something stupid, doing something gay. It's deeper than that. See, we were asleep on post. We were not walking our post in a perfect manner. So this is where we find ourselves. Now, I told you what they did to the sister. But what have they done to us? I'm talking about after not only tearing the skin off our backs, but the skin off our souls and our self-esteem and our manhood. Not just that. No, we talking after that. After they played the feminism game on the sister, what game did they play on us? This is the game they played on us. Oh, brother, you don't need no relationship with a woman. Just be a pimp. But let's look at these pimps. Let's pay close attention to these pimps. Get you a perm. Wear bright colors. Wear these flamboyant furs. You know, dye your hair, your facial hair, weird colors. Yeah. Wear high heels. I mean platforms. No, they not high heels. We're really tight bell bottoms, real tight around the backside, but wide around the leg. You know, have your hat, to the side. Talk with a real light voice like the Mac, baby. Listen, baby. I just wanna love you, baby. I want you to get yeah. See, this was cool in the 70s. I wasn't nowhere around in the 70s, but I know the game. I know the game, but I know the game behind the game. This was cool. Today, to this very day, we think this is cool. But when you look at it for what it is, okay, you're not actually loving a woman. You spend more time in the bathroom doing your hair than she does. Your hair is flowing. Your perm is flowing better than hers is. Your outfit costs more than hers does. Your nails are longer than hers is. Your high heels are higher than hers is.
You gay.
You gay. I'm sorry. You gay. That's gay. That's gay. I know we were conditioned to look up to pimps, especially growing up in the ghetto. They were one of the few people who had a little bit of money and had a nice car. It seemed to have some kind of power. Until the police pull up. But when you really look at it, that is a homosexual lifestyle. But we didn't see it in the 70s. We didn't see it in the 80s. Didn't see it in the 90s. We thought it was cool. See, you let this agenda creep up on us. We let this agenda creep up on us. Let's keep going. We can't stop there. Now, let's go back to the mammies. Because something else took place. After the agenda with the pimp agenda, something else took place. Now you see these mammies, right? Take a good look at them. See, take a good look. On Jemima's wedding day. Check it out. But take a really good look. Remember, you had this agenda, you had the pimp agenda, you had all these agendas prior to this. We coming down the timeline. We in the 80s now. Now something else happened in the 80s. In the 1980s, there was a mutation of our street organizations. For example, the Crips and the Bloods, they originally represented something positive. In fact, the Crips was more akin to the acronym of community revolution and progress. The Bloods represented brotherly love, overcoming oppression and destruction. That's what the Crips and the Bloods, the bounty hunters, they protected South Central Los Angeles or Central Avenue from Caucasians who would come down and try to do the same thing to the black people that they did to our young Hispanic brothers in the Zoot Suit riots. They would go through white neighborhoods, not just the police. Regular white people would go through black neighborhoods terrorizing the community. So these community so-called gangs that we call them gangs today, they started off as offshoots of the Black Panthers, and they had a righteous original motive. But then that got mutated. That got mutated into what we know now, the murder, the dope selling. But let's look at the mammies again. Remember, we was talking about fashion, right? We was talking about fashion, right? But these the homies though. These the homies. Pay attention. See, you can't wait for the enemy to be right in your face. You got to see him when he creeping up. You got to see him when he creeping up now. You got to see him when they creeping up. You got to see him when they creeping up. You got to see them when they got our brothers out here. Supposed to be the hardest brothers, and they wearing their bandanas just like Aunt Jemima. Just like Aunt Jemima. And we think it's cool. We didn't bat an eye. We didn't flinch one bit. But remember, we in the 80s. We coming down the timeline. Walk with me now. Walk with me. Then they did a job. Remember, Iblis said he would come at them from before them and from behind them, from their left and from their right. So see, the devil was at work. He ain't doing one thing at a time. Let me do a little public service announcement. Because there's something that we do in the black community. Again, warning, Negro discretion is advised. Black people have been given so many wise schools of thought and doctrines and leadership. Allah blessed us with Noble Drew Ali. May the peace and blessings of Allah be forever upon him. He blessed us with the Honorable Mosiah Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Blessed us and still blessing us with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X when he was at his best, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, giving us so much leadership, so much great leadership. But here's what we do. When we get this teaching, any type of righteous teaching is good for us, we do it part-time. We start making up excuses. We say, oh, well, I'm down, but, I got to go do this and handle that and do this and do that. I'm down, but I'm not active. I'm not, it's funny. I never hear white folks talk like that. I never hear an FBI agent say, yeah, I got a sign to go over here and spy on this mosque and this temple or this Black Panther meeting. But, the game is on, man. I got to go see what LeBron going to do. And when that's over, then, I'll get back to taking pictures. They don't play that game. They don't take no days off. So keep in mind, he all over the place with it. We in the 80s now. Don't forget, we on our way down. We coming into modern times, but we in the 80s. So not only were they working us through gangs, the mutation of our street organizations, but look at pop culture. And I gotta really touch on this. Because some of us have the nerve to act like when you see a rapper like Young Thug with a dress on, when you see young brothers today with the skinny jeans, I'm in no way, shape, or form a proponent or supporter of the skinny jeans. I just don't see how brothers can even feel their legs in them jeans, man. It's like it's cutting off circulation. You got fat dudes who want to rock them. I just don't understand it. But let's not act like feminine clothing in pop culture in the black community just came out in 2010. Stop it. We just talked about pimps. But it didn't get no better in the 80s. It didn't get no better than some of y'all watching this right now. Love this man. And the man made good music, man. I can't front. The man made good music. But let's take a look at our brother for a hot minute. May Allah be pleased. I don't want to speak ill of the dead. He was a fan of the minister. May Allah be pleased with Rick James. But come on, brother. Those are high heels. Boots coming all the way up to his thighs, skin tight leather pants. His hair looked better than most sisters. Penny from Good Times would love to have some beads like that in her hair. His overall demeanor and physical stature and countenance is even feminine. Come on now. We know how Prince's clique got down. They probably weren't no punks. They could probably hoop, as we saw on Dave Chappelle. But come on, man, look at this. You can hardly tell who's male or female. Like Charlie Murphy said, in them days, the brother that looked most like a sister got the most sisters. Now you think, well, brother, that's R&B. That's R&B. Hip hop. No, see, old school hip hop. Old school hip hop. They didn't play them games, man. Old school hip hop. You know, it was Kangos. You know what I mean? It was Adidas tracksuits. You know what I mean? You know, big old gold chains. You know, we kept it manly and real. Old school hip. What? This is the Furious Five. I said a hip hop, a hippie to the hip hop, and it don't stop. My brother got on skin tight jeans and a perm. What's going on? What's going on? What's my man doing down there at the bottom? I mean, his hair, that's a perfect straightener perm. I mean, that's perfect. What's going on to his left? My man got the gold jacket. It's all good till you get to the belt. And for some reason, he ain't wear no pants. I don't understand. And brother over here to the far left. I just don't know what's going on there. This is the Furious Five. I love, respect to the old school hip, but let's not act like this is something new. Shout out to everybody chiming in. Hit us up on NationTownStore.com. Show us some love. Some of y'all mad at me right now. Hey, these are facts. That's not a picture. I didn't draw it. This is an actual photograph. They said, all right, everybody, come together. Let's take this picture. And they got together and snapped. They took this picture. And they thought they was cool. Now, as I mentioned earlier, as an analogy of sorts, I said there are diseases. Like when we try to cherry pick our enemy, it's like a disease where you only treat the symptoms. Well, if this agenda is a disease, there was a point, I must say, in the late 80s and early 90s, particularly in hip hop culture. It didn't happen in a vacuum. It didn't happen randomly. But there was a point where hip hop culture, despite the disease that we were suffering under of white supremacy, our antibodies, so to speak, got stronger. And we started to fight back a little bit. We started to fight the power a little bit. Like I said, it wasn't in a vacuum. But you notice an Afrocentric vibe in the music. An Afrocentric vibe in the way we dress. The males and the females. Kente cloth all over the place. And it got so strong with types like Queen Latifah and African Bambaataa and so forth, and even Public Enemy, where even artists who wasn't really Afrocentric or conscious still were rocking conscious clothes. This is Salt and Pepper. Push it. They even was rocking the Kente colors. It became like it was a good fad. It was a good fad for many of these artists. Let's keep it real. Some of them was really about, just like being gangster. A lot of these artists ain't really gangster, but they try to act like it because that's what's cool right now. There was an article where the rapper Future said, I really don't even take that many drugs. I don't take all the promethazine and all of that, but that's what the children like to hear. He said that. And this has happened in every era. Some of these artists, even back in the 80s, they would dress like this because this was considered cool. But there's a reason why this black conscious dress and fashion and lyrics became cool, because there was a phenomenon sweeping America in the 1980s. Because there was a little budding nation within a nation that had died in 1975 and had started to make its way back. And then you started to see this. You started to see the Public Enemies. You started to see them dressed like such with FOI uniform. Yeah, that's Public Enemy. And FOI uniform, that's Flavor Flav right there with the white sunglasses. Yeah, that's Chuck D. That's Chuck D. Yeah. Where did they get this idea from? What was it? What inspired them to do such a thing? Pay attention to the uniforms. Pay attention to the uniforms. Pay attention to the uniforms. It was not a coincidence. See, these were the antibodies. This is Allah sending his chief antibody into our culture, fighting this disease, fighting it. So just like somebody that's sick in the hospital, when they start to rally, they start to feel better, they start talking, their vital signs get better. Those are the antibodies in them. They're natural antibodies fighting an unnatural disease. That's what was happening. So what the enemy did, just like he's doing now, he came up with a strain, with a new strain, a new variant called gangster rap. A new variant called gangster rap. Where these rappers now, they wasn't just talking about how cold they were on the mic or how Afrocentric they were. Now they were talking about, they were really pumping up and mutating what was already mutating in our streets through the gang culture. On the East Coast and the West Coast. But see, the antibodies start fighting back still. The most successful of these gangster rappers, Ice Cube, he couldn't resist the pull of the atmosphere of this antibody of the Nation of Islam. But see, they had to keep coming with the variants. Remember, Iblis said he was going to come from every direction. So at the same time, they were building more prisons than schools. And prison culture became now blended in with black culture. I had an interesting conversation about 15 years ago with an older brother. You know, I hope he's still alive, but back then he was pushing 70, and he said, brother, do you know that if you were a convict, you were a black convict in the 50s and the 60s, you and your whole family kept it a secret, like, you know, just like if you were gay or you know, like you had black families who were very self-conscious and ashamed of having a family member with a mental problem or with a mental retardation or a physical issue. You know, they put them up in the room and hide them. They wouldn't have them all about. They were ashamed of it. He said, you were ashamed to be a convict. You were ashamed to tell people that you went to prison. We talking about the 50s, 60s, 40s. Back in the day, you were ashamed to even talk about that. Even if you weren't even rightly accused, even if you were innocent, you didn't like telling people that you spent time in prison. Now, brothers take it as a badge of honor. But let me say this. I have love for my brothers on the inside. Shout out to our brothers in Lancaster, Long Park, San Quentin. Nation of Islam, we do a lot of work in the prison system. I have love for our brothers in the system. And I love it when a brother survives the system. But there's a difference between surviving, being a survivor of the system, and being a willing and active and proud participant in the system. But they've made, just like they trying to fuse gay culture with black culture, putting the rainbow flag behind the black fist. Before they did that, they took prison culture and said, you know what? You ain't a real nigga unless you did time. Yeah, brothers to this day walking around with a mentality, if you ain't never did time, I don't even respect you. When you talk about a gay agenda, let's look at prison culture for a minute. With all due respect to those who survived it. See, if you survive a car accident, I respect you for that, man. Especially if you show me a picture of the car and the car looked like a squashed tomato can. Man, I respect you. I'm looking at you like, wow, how did you survive that? Allahu Akbar. But that don't mean, oh, let me go get into an accident. I can't wait to get in one myself. If you survive a plane crash, I'm not in no rush. If you tell me you survived a plane crash, I might cancel my next flight. I might not get on a plane for a while, even though it's the safest way to travel. So being a survivor is different from being an active participant. But let's look at prison life for what it really, really is. First of all, you are forced to wear what another man tells you to wear. You're forced to go to sleep when another man tells you to go to sleep. When you get booked in and registered in, they tell you to bend over, spread your butt cheeks, cough. You showering in a large shower filled with nothing but men. You in a facility. Most of these prison facilities are in the boondocks. They way out. So you way out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing but men. Maybe one or two female COs. And they ain't nothing to look at. So you're surrounded by nothing but men. We don't even have to talk about prison rape. We ain't got to talk about that. Just the fact that you're a grown man and you're around nothing but other men, and you got another man telling you what to eat, when to sleep, what to wear. That, my friend, come on now, that is homosexual. I'm sorry. But it has been blended in to hip hop culture, into black culture.
Hell, nigga, you gay.
Simple as that. Simple as that, family. So yeah, I know it made you flinch when Lil Nas X did what he did on the stage. I know it made you flinch when you found out transvestites were teaching children and doing story time in school. I know it makes you flinch when they telling you that, you know, that your favorite mall or airport got unisex bathrooms. You know, I know all of this makes you flinch, but that means the threat is already in your space. You didn't see the threat coming. We were not walking our post in a perfect manner. Shout out to everybody chiming in. We ain't gonna be on much longer. We about to wrap it up. Brother 99 Hour said that's bananas. Brother K for real said exactly. You would be called a square if you didn't go to prison. Brothers would say that. Brother Muslim Muhammad says, teach Brother Minister Landon that all praises due to Allah. I'm just your brother. Astaghfirullah. Indeed. Astaghfirullah. Oh Allah, please forgive me for my transgressions. Mental bucking. Absolutely, Brother K for real. Mental bucking. But we not done yet, family. We about to wrap it up. We about to wrap this thing up. But again, now there's some who will tell you that the sagging culture came from the prison system. I've heard different stories on this. I've heard people say that sagging in prison was a means of showing that you was down with the funny style stuff. But the most reliable source that I heard is that, you know, in prison they don't tailor your uniforms, and they don't really care if they fit or not. And they don't give you belts because of the risk of you using it as a weapon or hanging yourself. So a lot of the early prison uniforms, they didn't fit the inmates correctly. So a lot of them sagged. So this is what you saw. And keep in mind, they were building these prisons so damn fast that they couldn't keep up with the demand. They didn't care to feed us the right way or to put the right clothing on us or nothing like that. They didn't care for all that. In fact, there are prisons where they purposely make male prisoners, particularly in Arizona, wear pink underwear, pink socks, pink bed sheets and bedspreads. See, this is a deeper agenda than just basic homosexuality. Much deeper. And then we all know what they were doing to the black household. Through the welfare system, through prison industrial complex, through us getting murdered in the streets, through us being unemployable. So a sister who had more of an education and children to feed, she was by herself. All of a sudden, prior to 1970, the average black household, 75% of these households had a man and a woman, a father and a mother in the household. and only about 25 to 30% did not prior to 1970. After the 1970, that number completely flipped to where most black households had 75% single mothers, 25% nuclear families. Where did that come from? Again, it goes back to that feminist mentality, but also it became a part of our culture. Girl, you can do bad all by yourself. And who's telling them that? A man in a dress. Listen, family, walk our post in a perfect manner, keeping always on the alert. But brothers, we ain't no better. In hip hop culture, I love Pac. I love Pac. He the GOAT to me. He the GOAT to me. But the white man, the Jews who signed his checks, they loved it when he said money over female dogs, money over bitches. They love that. They love that mentality because that's a more modern take, a mutated take on the pimp culture. See, they took the pimp culture and they brought it back, infused it with gangster culture. Money over it. Money is the only thing you should be worried about, brother. Don't worry about loving no woman. I don't love these hoes. That's what we were taught in the 90s. Am I lying? You can probably lie to me about the 70s. You can probably lie to me about the 60s and 50s, but you can't lie to me about the 90s. This is what our families look like. In fact, nowadays they're talking about something called toxic masculinity. Let me tell you something about toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity, whatever that may be and what you think it is, was born in single parent households where masculinity was absent. We weren't nobody talking about toxic masculinity when we had real families. Wasn't nobody talking about that. Wasn't nobody talking about that. Let's keep it all the way live. Now that's not where they ended. That's not where it stopped. Family, remember, Iblis is coming from every direction where he's overlapping agendas on top of agendas on top of agendas. He's agendas on agendas on agendas. So he goes back, and we're going to close on this. He goes back and he says, we got the gangster agenda, we got the pimp agenda, we got the feminist agenda, we got the I can do bad all by myself agenda. We got all of these agendas working for us. Now let's mix up the pot. Let's mix up the pot. We didn't put crack cocaine. We didn't put crack cocaine in the streets. We got that working for us. We got the dope in the streets. We need one more ingredient. We need, the dope. Let's really make the dope popular. Let's make that evil fair seeming. Let's make it first fair seeming from the distribution and retail standpoint. In other words, selling the dope. And now you might be thinking, your mind immediately went to hip hop, right? Oh, yeah. You talk about all these rappers. Talking about, no. Long before hip hop, long before any rapper was talking about selling dope. I mean, let's keep it real, man. I love Curtis Mayfield, man. You ask my wife. I know she probably hates Curtis Mayfield as much as I listen to him. I love Curtis Mayfield. He is one of the most gifted musicians in our lifetime. But he had a song called Pusher Man, which was one of the first gangster rap songs, where he broke down in detail. I'm your mother, I'm your father, I'm that. He broke it down. Bobby Womack did the same thing across 110th Street. Pushers won't let the junkie go free. Go to one of these lyrics websites and look up the lyrics to 110th Street by Bobby Womack and tell me that don't read like a gangster dope boy rap song today. So it started way back. And then in the 80s, dope man. It's not about a salary. It's all about reality. Come on now. And then it continued to fester and mutate. Then you had Jeezy, Snowman. Look at this Snowman logo. Snowman meaning snow is in cocaine. What kind of hat he got on his head? See? They mixing up the pot. They mixing up the pot. They mixing up. It's agendas on agendas on agendas. Goo-wop, brick squad. What kind of bricks he talking about? You think he talking about building houses? No, he talking about cocaine bricks. Got a song, one of his biggest hits, Bricks. Why he got a bird as the logo for Brick Squad? That's what they call a brick, a bird. And now the you know, some of my generation and a little bit older are now talking about, man, you know, back in our era, you know, we rapped about manly stuff like selling dope to our own people and being locked up with a bunch of men. You know, and they don't put it like that, but that's basically how we talk. But these rappers these days, they all dope fiends. They all, I don't know. So wait a minute, you mean you had a whole generation of rappers and men and fathers glorifying being absent from their homes by being in prison and pushing dope, and then you're surprised when it leads to a generation of feminine, dope addicted youngsters? I don't understand where you don't see the connection there. Daddy's gone, and when they see daddy, he moving dope, and he might even sell it to his mom. I mean, you had all these generations of selling dope. Everybody's a dope man. Everybody a baller. Everybody got a plug. Where do you think, who's buying the dope? You think it wasn't no pregnant women buying the dope? You think it wasn't no women buying the dope who had babies at home by themselves, fending for themselves? And then you mad when they come out. And when you see them in pop culture, you see them in hip hop glorifying just getting high and being weird and popping all kind of pills and trippy culture. I'm trippy. I'm high. Lean. I gotta get high just to rap, just to mumble over a beat. You think you come on, man. Come on, man. We gotta think for a minute, man. Walk our posts in a perfect manner. This didn't creep. This didn't just pop up on us. This been creeping up on us for decades, man. But we wasn't paying attention. We wasn't paying attention. Brother Muslim Muhammad said a sad song to sing. Teach, Brother Minister Landon, man. All praises due to Allah. Like my wife said, from the Boondocks, homies over hoes. That was, you know, that's how they are. That's what they pushing in hip hop. That's what they pushing. I'm your pusher, man. That's what they pushing. Sister Yasiel said, I'm getting such a perfect understanding with all this knowledge. Thank you for teaching us today, Brother Landon X. Assalamu alaikum, my beautiful sister. All praises due to Allah. Man, shame on the brother when he dealing the same block when my 98 be willing. Man, I know that's right. All white bricks. All kind of bricks. Off-white bricks. Even got your brother memorizing the lyrics. Keeping always on the alert, Brother Khalik said. All praises due to Allah. But you know what's funny? The first part of this series was inspired by our brother, Dr. William H. Cosby, and his situation. That was part one. Now we on part two, inspired by the baby situation and the agenda. But what's interesting about Cosby's situation, he was in trouble for allegedly drugging a bunch of women in order to take advantage of them. So therefore the cancel culture kicked in because Bill Cosby allegedly drugged a bunch of white girls and a few sisters and took advantage of them. But you know what's funny about that? What's ironic about that? I don't even like that word because nothing is really ironic. It's all Allah's active or permissive will. But you know what's cute about that? That we all in an uproar, arguing one way or the other about Bill Cosby and whether or not he drugged and took advantage of a bunch of white girls. The truth of the matter is, America drugged an entire race of people and took advantage of us. Everything I just went over was America drugging us and taking advantage of us. You better ask Gary Webb. You better ask Gary Webb. Shout out to Gary Webb. And I'm going to say something that I don't usually say when it pertains to a Caucasian, but I'll say it. May Allah be pleased with Gary Webb. They say he committed suicide by shooting himself twice in the head. You heard that right. They say he committed suicide by shooting himself twice in the head, but what he did, he broke open the story and the fact of crack plague's roots are in the Nicaraguan war. He busted that wide open. Busted it wide open. Shout out to Gary Webb. May Allah be pleased with him. May Allah watch after his family. They messed up his family where he lost his wife. His wife left him. All of that because he broke open the truth. See, even a dog meows and a cat barks every now and then. So may Allah be pleased with Gary Webb. And then the government even admitted that they did it. I hope you can see that anti-drug unit of CIA sent tons of cocaine to U.S. in 1990. In fact, they put an article in the Washington Post in 1999, and that article was about as big as what you see right there, where the government basically admitted and somewhat apologized for funneling cocaine into the inner city. Did you know that? But nobody really knew about it or took notice of it, because when they dropped that article, it was right in the heart of the Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton controversy. So nobody paid attention. So you want to talk about Bill Cosby, so-called drugging and raping a few funny-looking white women. The Caucasian drugged and took advantage of an entire race of people. This is the Final Call article from 2004. The death of Gary Webb, the CIA, crack cocaine in the black community. Once again, may Allah be pleased with Gary Webb. So family, I appreciate y'all holding it down with me. We went a little long today, but I had to really dissect this. I hope you didn't think that I was going to go into all the ins and outs of the baby. I'm not concerned with the baby. And what you see on social media is right. Why nobody protested all of his negative lyrics? Well, I just broke all of that down. And notice that I broke down that agenda, and I hardly ever only mentioned LGBTQ a couple of times, but I never went into actual gay people, because the agenda is deeper than gay people. Gay people are the branches on the tree, but there's a root to that tree that's the real culprit. And until we uproot that, we're going to keep running into that agenda and all of its variants. Well, with that said, family, I appreciate y'all holding it down with me. I'm going to leave y'all as I greeted y'all in the words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language. That's the language that you spoke long before you knew anything about the grafted, bastardized language called English. And it's the language that you long before you even knew the grafted bastard that taught you that language. That's the Arabic language. I greet you in the words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Y'all be safe, family.
I was told to deliver this message.